Hey everybody, it is Wintermute here with the Japanese Turn. I know this has been delayed. I had an unfortunate trip to the ER earlier this week. Fortunately, I survived and lived to fight another day. So, with that said, we're going to roll right into our technology. So the first thing we're going to roll for is radar, which we do not get. Next, we're going to roll for jet fighter, which we also do not get. Okay. It hasn't been a terrible tech game for Japan, so I can't complain too much. Our builds are going to be, we're going to advance this heavy battleship one space. We're going to build a fighter, a destroyer, 2 militia upgrades, 1 AA, 4 militia, and 7 infantry. And then as far as combat moves go, let me adjust here just a bit. There we go. So we are going to take this seaplane here in Borneo from the seaplane base and go 1, 2, 3. And he's going to go try to sink a sub in P-64. Then we're going to take this medium bomber in the Philippines, who's going to go 1, 2, 3. Oh, hold on. I counted this a very specific way I had to count this. 1, 2. Yeah, because his movement is currently 6 because I have long range aircraft. So he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll land in South Australia. And take care of those transports. I know Hambone isn't worried about them, but I am. Then up here from P-44, we're going to move 2 subs into P-46, along with, we'll say 2 fighters and a TAC bomber. And then we're going to move the same thing into P-53. 2 subs, as well as 2 fighters and a tactical bomber to go after those 2 destroyers. Oh, come on, guys, stand up. All right. And then we are going to raid the Indian line as per the usual. And that is it for my actual combats. Yeah, we're not doing anything. It's going to be a very, very mellow turn for Japan, comparatively. So we're going to go ahead and roll for our raids on the Indian line. So I'm at a net +1. I will be the red die. And that gets it. So FEC loses $1. And then here we're going to just get rid of these 3 American transports. And then while we're here, we're going to go ahead and move this bomber into Southern Australia. And then here we get 1 shot at a 3 to try and take out a single sub before they submerge. And wow, we actually got 1. I think that may be, I don't know if that's the first or second kill for that seaplane in this game, but he has not had great luck. And then the other one submerges, which will become important here in a moment. And then just for argument's sake, we're going to land him back in Borneo as of right now. And then we have we will take this fight at P-53 first to try and kill that destroyer. Let me adjust my, actually I'm going to move my camera here to look at the dice, and we'll just kind of pull this stuff over here. So with that fight, I'm going to have a 7 for the dive bomber, which hits, so that's that. And then he has a 4 in the defense, which misses. And then the planes for that will land back in P-44, and the subs will stay put. And then the other fight in P-46 is going to be the exact same thing. So we've got the dive bomber that will hit, and then his defense roll actually does get a hit, so we will lose a single sub from P-46. And then all those planes will land back in P-44 as well on the fleet carriers, or the various carriers that are there. Okay. That is it for my combats. So non-com. So let me start up north and try to work my way south so I keep this all straight. So we're going to have the fleet carrier, or the heavy fleet carrier here in Kyushu, go ahead and join the big fleet in P-44 right off Palau. We're going to have one transport from P-32. Yeah, he does have a port there. Move up here and pick up these two guys from Honshu, and then come back and drop them off in Nanking. And for argument's sake, right now we're going to just declare he is in port. Oops. There we go. So that he is in port in Nanking. And then we're going to, from Tokyo, move 2 infantry up to Honshu to replace the 2 guys that moved. We know that's an infantry chip. We'll be placing some guys there to fill that in. Then we have 3 transports here in P-32. They're going to move down into P-41 and out of Nanking. They're going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4 Marines, and they're going to bring those Marines down, and they are actually going to drop them off in Anam Tonkin. And then the 2 destroyers in P-32 are going to swing down with them as well. And let me scoot my camera over. Not a great position. There we go, that's a little bit better. All right, then from Kwangtung here, we're going to have 1 Marine move up into back into Anam Tonkin. We are going to have 4 infantry move into Anam Tonkin, and then the 1 infantry left in Kwangtung is actually going to rail up into Burma. And then we had 1 infantry already in Anam Tonkin. He is going to walk over to Burma as well. Let's see, let me take a look at that. Yeah, that's good, that's good, that's good. We know what's going on there. We know what's going on there. In the Philippines, we have 1 fighter who's going to fly over to Siam. And then in P-44, yeah, I was debating that, but I think I'm going to go for it anyway. I think it makes sense. So I'm going to take 1 sub out of P-44, and he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. He does have a sub base, and he's going to end in P7. Let me move this up. So 1 sub from P-44 moves up to P7. Yeah. Okay. Now we'll scoot down. And then from the, how do I want to do that? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yep. So we're going to have, on the Caroline Islands, we have one transport here who's in port. He is actually going to go over one, pick up two guys, two infantry from the Marshall Islands, and then his second movement's going to be back to P46, and then down, his third movement's going to come down into P53. He's going to drop two guys off in New Guinea. And then he's going to go into port in New Britain. And then we are going to fly this medium bomber that is on Palau down to New Guinea. Yep, and they're okay there. All right, now we're going to move over here. And I've got those three subs up here. The one from P37 is going to move down to P54. The one in P38 is going to move down to P55, and the one in P39 is going to move down to P56. Let's see. Now, that is all of my non-com moves. I just want to take a quick glance at things, see how I feel about everything. Because we're definitely entering into a stage of the game that is, very kind of, you can't predict for this. You can't plan ahead for this. You got to make a lot of decisions based on how the game is played out in its usually very unique way up until this point in the game. So, I think I'm pretty okay with things as they are. So we are going to go into place units. Now, if you look over here at Australia, whoops, this guy is submerged, and so when I draw my Lend-Lease path or supply path from Kyushu down to Sydney, I still have to pass through this single sub here, so he gets his one interdiction here as I try to put two infantry upgrades or two militia upgrades here in Sydney. So let me just double check something. Yep. Okay, I'm going to roll a black and a red die. He is shooting at me for the first one, so he will be the red die as the attacker. And he misses that one. That's a 1 versus my 6. Let me scoot down here a little bit. Okay, and then the next militia upgrade, that is a 10 versus his 3, so that one gets through as well. Okay, so we're going to take the two infantry that are there, or the two militia that are there, and they're going to become infantry. And then I'm going to place one militia there as well. Okay. So Sydney ultimately gets two militia upgrades into militia. All right, so let me place the rest of my builds at this point. So I'm going to have one destroyer go into P15. Oops. I'm going to have one fighter go into Siam. I'm going to have one AA gun go into Siam. I will have, let me check my notes on this one. One militia go into Kwangtung. One militia go into Nanking. One militia go into Malaya. And so that leaves me with the 7 infantry. So the 7 infantry are going to be, 2 are going to go into Tokyo to replace the guy that was, the 2 guys that moved out. And then the last 5 are going to go into Kyushu. All right, and that is it for the Japanese turn. Yep. So I will collect a total of, so I'm at 41 IPP income with my bonuses, which are actually still pretty high. I am actually going to collect a total of 52 IPP for next turn. So this is Wintermute signing off for Japan. If you are finished watching, then you can move on to the next video. But I'm going to do a quick unit recap for the other guys just to make sure we're all on the same page. So we will start over here in Burma. In Burma, I have 6 artillery. 4, 5, 6, 7. And 8 infantry in Burma. 6 artillery and 8 infantry in Burma. Siam is 2 fighters, 1 infantry, 1 AA gun, a militia, and the 2 factories. Oh, I'm sorry, Burma also has 1 militia. Anam Tonkin is going to have 1 militia, and then they're also going to have 4 infantry and 5 marines. Kwangtung has a militia. Hong Kong has a militia. Cochinchina has a militia. Malaya has the coastal artillery as well as 2 militia. Sumatra has a militia. I-12 has a coastal sub. I-7 has a coastal sub. Let's scoot over this way. Java has a militia. Borneo has a seaplane. Philippines has a militia. New Guinea has a militia and 2 infantry and a medium bomber. New Britain has a militia and a transport import. Whoops. All right, Australia. South Australia has a militia and a medium bomber. Queensland has a militia. Sydney has 3, 4, 5 infantry. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I did pay to repair the factory in Sydney, guys. I am sorry about that. So, I'm sorry. Sydney itself has a militia, 5 infantry, the fortification, 3 coastal guns. And South Island has a militia. Solomon has a militia, and then P-54 has a sub, P-55 has a sub, P-56 has a sub. Marshall Islands has a militia, P-46 has a sub. Caroline Islands has a militia and 2 infantry. P-53 has 2 subs. That's still American. Bonin has 1 militia. Iwo Jima has 1 militia. Palau has 1 militia. And then my major fleet has... Yeah, give me a second. I'll come back to the major fleet. Okay, so Nanking currently has a transport import, a partially finished fortification, a militia, an artillery, 3 infantry, and 4 cavalry. P-15 has a destroyer, and for argument's sake, we're going to say he's in port at... and then Kyushu has... Actually, no, he won't be in port. I'm sorry. Kyushu has 5 infantry. Tokyo has 2 mountain, 3 infantry, and a militia. Honshu has 2 infantry and a militia. Hokkaido has a infantry. And I believe that is everything except for my main fleet. Oh, P-41 has 3 transports and 2 destroyers. Yep. And then the main fleet itself. Okay, so the main fleet itself is going to have, at this point, 2 torpedo boat destroyers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 destroyers. 2 light cruisers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heavy cruisers. A battle cruiser, 2 battleships, 4 light carriers, 2 fleet carriers. They also are going to have the heavy fleet carrier as well as 1 submarine. And then they also have, as far as air power goes, they have 3 tactical bombers as well as 5 fighters. And I will clean them up a bit later. That should be everything. Obviously, if you got any questions, send me a text and we'll go from there. Wintermute out.